response from the Newcastle fans behind you. This is a really tough place to come. How do you see the point you earned here on the first day?
Yeah, it's a bit strange really, because coming here you would have probably took a point because they're a great team, it's a great atmosphere and a hard place to play, but in the end with the sending off you want to win the game, and I felt like we were just a little bit sloppy in the final third, so yeah, I feel like we could have done better, but we'll take the point. How
frustrating was that sending off for you? Because if you hadn't been pulled down, you were through on goal.
Yeah, it's one of them. If he doesn't pull me down, I go through and score, but in the end, you know, they have a player less, so we sort of win either way, but I think once they get the man sent off, we've got to find a way of being better, a bit more composed around the goal.
How did you find it playing down the middle today and adapting to that role?
I really like it. I feel like as my career progresses, I feel like I will end up more central anyway. So it's come a bit earlier than I imagined, but I'm really enjoying it. It's just going to take some getting used to, I think.
How has the Alexander Isak talks about his future affected you all as teammates? Because it must have been difficult.
Yeah, it has been difficult because we're such a tight-knit group. So for that to almost... We've never really had any problems publicly, and that being the first thing that's happened, it's tested us. But you see today, we've still got that spirit, we've still got that togetherness. And, you know, we work on it every day. It's never going to go regardless of individuals. So we're a top group. Our togetherness is top, and it always will be.
Can something like this almost bring you closer together?
Yeah, it can do. But like I said, we're so together anyway. And I think, like you said, things like this can sort of battle test you and make you better in the end. And I think that's going to be the case.
It's a massive game up next at home against Liverpool. You must be looking forward to getting back in front of those home fans, and with a massive game like that too.
Yeah, I think with everything that's gone on, I'm sure the atmosphere is going to be a bit wild. I'm just excited to see the home fans again, get back in the stadium, and it's going to be a top game.
We're excited for it too. Well done today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, Anthony Gordon with the most shots and the most shots on target today in this game, but no way to break through and give Newcastle the win they would have loved to start the season with, and probably deserved on the balance of play today. He's talked about that central role and how he's enjoying it, and how he feels like he's still getting used to it, but he might go that way the more his career progresses. How do you think he did today?
I think he did well up to a point. I think his movement was really sharp. I thought he got himself into some really, really good positions. I think there was a little bit lacking in terms of that striker instinct, but that will come. The more games you play in that position, the more that it will happen for you. But I thought his all-round general play, I thought, was relatively good today.
Yeah, we'll look at some of the opportunities that he had, as we mentioned, the most in the game. And you've no disrespect to him, but you feel, and this is why it highlights the striker issue again, Shay, because if you feel if there was an out-and-out striker, some of these would have gone in.
But it's interesting to hear him say that, actually. I thought he was just sort of filling in for a striker till he comes, but he actually believes it himself that as his career progresses, he would like to see that one there over the top. When it goes out to Tino, I think he should be busting the gut. A striker like Darren Bent would be getting in the box for the chance. And again, this one for his first touch. I know it's late in the game, maybe tiredness kicks in, first game of the season, all that, but his touch has to be better to get his shot off, you know. But again, it's an option, and I'm sure Eddie Howe and his staff are working with Anthony Gordon in them positions. Darren makes a really good point about making the right runs. You know, sort of some of the best strikers, they know where it's not a gamble as such, they just have an instinct of feeling where the ball's going to end up. And that Tino cross, I think, you know, Anthony's looking at the cross, the ball going out to Tino to start with. I think a Darren Bent or a top striker would be bursting the gut to get into the box. And as the ball comes across, he's got a simple tap in. He reacts after the ball goes to Tino, and then he just can't catch up with play.
It's almost anticipating what's going to happen, because as it goes over his head, most centre-forwards who play in that position, as it goes over your head, you don't even look, you just turn around, go straight into the box. And if he probably does that, as Shay said, you probably tap it in the net. But again, when you don't play that position week in, week out, the pitches are very, very different. When you play down the middle, you see things differently than when you play wide. But again, the more he plays there, and listen, he might end up, if they lose Isak, for instance, and he ends up having to play there for a prolonged time, then these little moments will be more in him, and he'll start to pick up some of these little tap-ins and stuff. But again, for someone who doesn't play that role often enough, I think his performance today was relatively good.
Yeah, he did mention, he did admit that he could have probably done a little bit better. And he also mentioned a keyword, composure, which I think as we see some of the other Newcastle chances, especially the very early one for Elanga, that's a keyword.
Yeah, and again, making his debut for Newcastle as well. So this is the chance of the game, let's be honest, Jules. This is clean through in the 3rd or 4th minute. You know, I think personally, you know, as an ex-goalkeeper, I think if he goes low and hard, I think he scores. But taking on away from Beastcott, it's a good save from him. But again, these chances, second half, were sort of nearly chances. Again, that final third, that's probably what will worry Eddie Howe the most. You know, they're doing well up to a point. I really like the midfield from Newcastle today, and the back, they look really solid. The final third, they've got some really good players, but it's just knitting it all together, you know, making them half chances goals, of course. And again, I know it's too easy just to say you need 2 strikers, and that's probably just a simple argument. But again, as Darren says, if Isak is not, if he is leaving and the players don't come in, these players have to step up. Harvey Barnes has to score more goals. Gordon, and of course Elanga, who's making his debut today for Newcastle, has to get him his goals himself as well.
So a goalless draw to start the season. That means plenty to ponder for Newcastle manager Eddie Howe. Let's hear his post-match reactions and his thoughts now.
Eddie, considering how tough a place Villa Park is to come, are you pleased with a point?
Yes, I think we're pleased with the point, but I think the way we played, I thought we deserved more. I thought we were excellent in the first half, especially. Magnificent performance. Dominated most aspects of the game. We just couldn't score. Second half, probably until the red card, I don't think that was our best period in the game, and then we came strong again with 11v10, but can't fault the players' attitudes, what they've given today. I thought we were magnificent.
As you say, it was such a confident start, a really lively start from Newcastle. 8 shots in that first half. Why do you think it wasn't quite the same as you came out for the second half?
Well, it was a hot day, so I think maybe we struggled to keep the momentum and the intensity that we were playing at. I thought we made it difficult for them to gain any control in the game. Yeah, I think the home team's always going to have a period in the game where, especially one of the quality of Aston Villa, where they're slightly on top, but we defended really well today. Full compliment to the team in terms of how we navigated that period. We didn't concede and we were going strong at the end trying to win.
How do you think Anthony Gordon did playing in that striker role?
I thought he did really well. I thought he looked a real threat. I mean, he plays it uniquely to him. He's less of a focal point and more of a drifter across the pitch. But he's got pace and he runs in behind and he causes teams problems in that respect. And probably a better example of that, no better example of that, was a sending off.
Yeah, new signing Anthony Elanga also with lots of pace. How do you think he did in his first competitive match?
Really good. Really, really good. I thought he was direct. Showed real quality as well with that directness. But yeah, he looks a player that will elevate us. And then Jacob came on and did well. So I was pleased with everybody today. I don't think there was a weakness in our team, hence we played so well and should have won.
There's obviously still the ongoing saga with Alexander Isak. How do you hope this is resolved in the coming days or weeks?
Yeah, it's a difficult one to answer. I hope it's resolved quickly because it's sort of news around us all the time rather than focusing on what we need to do on the pitch and all the things that go into a performance today. Then players manage to shut that out and just perform, and we've done that consistently, so we're going to have to continue to do that, and we could do without the narrative against us, but what will be will be.
Yeah, what will be Eddie Howe saying that they probably should have won that game. For Aston Villa, then a goalless draw, keeping this long unbeaten run at home going is a welcome point, I suppose. They were better in the second half, though. Yeah,
they were. They had a couple of good chances, you'd have to say, in that second half. But they could have been down in that first half. But they were better, as you said there. I mean, Kamara had a big chance here. It's hard because if he gets it a yard either side of Nick Pope, he probably scores. And he's done really well because his movement's good. He gets in front of Joe Linton. And then even the Watkins one, I think this is the Watkins one here, it's a good chance because there's a better camera angle, but he does well getting out of his feet. But I just think if he pulls it back towards his near post through the defender's leg, he probably scores. This is the angle because his movement's good, but as he goes back inside, if he then pulls it back on himself through the defender's legs, because the goalkeeper's weight's on his right foot, he won't be able to get down to his left. So I think if he hits a target, it doesn't even have to be a clean strike, just almost hit the target, it probably rolls in the net, Shay.
Yeah, it makes a good point because sometimes it comes through the keepers, through the defender's legs. It makes it very difficult for the goalkeeper. But yeah, they had a few half chances. But again, I felt Newcastle were comfortable. Darren makes a good point. I think is it Dan Burn? I think
it's Dan Burns
getting back into. So you see Watkins, if he reverses it now into this left post as we're watching the screen, you know, Nick Pope, as you rightly says, is sort of leaning towards the right. You know, but it's a half chance, if I'm being honest. And I suppose with 10 men, they're going to have few chances, especially towards the end of the second half.
Yeah, let's look at the moment that made it 10 men, because already difficult, and then it's on 66 minutes, this happens. It's from a breakaway.
Yeah.
You're both in agreement that it's a red card.
Yeah, we spoke about the pace, didn't we, before the game? You know, with Barnes, Elanga thing. I just think Villa here, Cash is on the ball here, and look, Onana has a gamble up. And then now at this stage they're in trouble because I think Dina, the left back, he has to lock on to Elanga here, or at least be in a vicinity where he can actually do something with this ball. Dina for me is a no man's land. The two centre halves perhaps can drop off earlier as well. It's a brilliant run and a brilliant pass from Elanga, to be fair. Brilliant run from Anthony Gordon. And then Konsa, I don't know why Konsa just doesn't go with him, because he's right there, Jules. I think Konsa can actually go with him, not try and pull him back, but actually back yourself as in pace, because Anthony Gordon they're sort of running side by side. He's still got the goalkeeper to beat. He's still got a long way to go before goal. But I think Craig Pawson, the referee, makes the right decision. I think it's a red card.
And we know that the Premier League's going to try and clamp down on holding and be a little bit more strict with it. I'm sure the players would know that as well. So, you know, that field, why would he do that? Is that just instinct, do you think?
It's instinct as well. But when I look at situations like that, I always think it's quite lazy because there's still a bit of distance, as Shay says, to the goal. Like, if it's Salah bearing down on goal, how prolific he is, I can kind of understand it. I still don't forgive it because I still think it's quite lazy, but you'd go, OK, fair enough. But the fact that Konsa's there with him, there's still a long distance to the goal. The goalkeeper's coming out as well. I would almost make the goalkeeper do his job. Let him try and save it, and then you go for the rest of the game with 11 men. But when you I know they didn't get punished today, but almost when you make that decision and you drag him down so early, you're not really making Anthony Gordon do anything. You're kind of giving them the opportunity. So, poor decision from Konsa, I thought.
Well, goalless to start the day, 10-man Aston Villa against Newcastle. That is the early kickoff.
Grateful for our supporters. Full stadium. The first match we were everybody motivated and excited to start here winning. Of course, this is the 22 match, not losing at home, and is very good as well to achieve it. But lost like we did today, 2 points at home, maybe it's not the best. I am not happy only achieving 1 point. But how was going the match and against the opponent we have? Of course, I had to accept it at the end of the match. The first half we played, I think, not dominating the match like we planned. We were not getting some duel beating them. Defensively, even we were not stopping them. They were playing a lot of long ball, second action, and they are so strong player, a strong team doing it. And we didn't concede a lot, but very good chances they had, and our goalkeeper saved it fantastic, Marco. And the second half, we changed a little bit, and we tried as well to do more passes, some position on the field as well. Tactically, we corrected. And I think we started very well the first 10, 15 minutes. We were dominating more. We were in attacking third more time than the first half. We were even with the fullback, sometimes we were getting higher. So in that moment, I was very confident to win the match. But after the red card, again, the match changed completely. And of course, in my mind was we have to try to get one transition and to score 1 goal to win. But firstly, we needed defensively to set a high commitment everybody in his task, and they did it. And of course, we didn't concede a lot of chance. More or less, we were defending out of corners, a lot of faults. And I think we had to accept this result.
Just finally, it's the mentality. When you went down to 10 men, you seem to respond to that quite well today.
Yes, the mentality to respond in everything happened today in 90 minutes, I think very important, especially the last 30 minutes playing with one.